might be a multi-year process until they get everything together, including their community outreach portion of their business and so forth. So we're not putting pressure on.
Oh no, we're not. No, no, no need for pressure. But I'm still. I'm not going to let up. How about that?
All right.
All right.
So,
You see the train running behind you.
hey, that's at least that's running on time today. No, that and the grocery store. That's the two biggest.
Oh God. Yeah.
I'm like my market and house is like right in the middle of all this like major ice. I'm like, yay. I'm like, yeah.
How many snow plows does Carson have?
Now that I have a little electric snowblower that I've dusted off once in a while, so we'll see if we'll see how she does over the weekend. But I'm not gonna have much to move. I don't think it's gonna be all this ice.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Us too, to be blunt, you know. So it looks like now for us, and I'm sure similar to you, that it looks like a 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. Event, let's call it.
A real
You know.
treat. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yippee.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, Will, Nathan emailed. He was gonna attend, but he had something come up. So
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. And we talked about I had spoken with a newer committee member, but not for this call.
Yeah.
Melanie and I had a had an email with a new member, but
Yeah,
that needs to happen post the next big meeting.
that is true. It's
Okay.
oh God, Sarah. I think it's Sarah Bowman from the Taubman Museum.
Yes, sir. I think that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So she should be joining you starting in July.
Okay. Easy enough. All right. Well, we'll keep then we will keep things efficient here. Not an issue. So,
Yeah, there isn't really any challenges to what's upcoming, so I'll let the fellas drive the conversation, and you drive your agenda. But yeah, we're ready.
yep.
Absolutely. Just took a glance myself. Nothing. Obviously, major gift. But aside from that, still, things looked healthy. You know, from reporting, you know, with admissions and store and whatnot. Not to take too many words, from Jonathan's report, but it was nice to nice to see all those things. If assuming no other questions, since it's staff and myself, so I'll let us proceed to the report if we want to do that.
Excellent.
Yeah, maybe Jonathan can start talking just about the details of the finances that would be relevant to the full board. And Ryan, we just had a foundation finance committee yesterday, the day before. And he can give an update on the endowment management and progress and so forth. And then we'll just see if there are open questions. All right, Jonathan,
Cool.
over to you.
Yeah, so I can just jump into the footnotes. We don't have to do the full summary, but jump in. So the appropriation out of the 204,414. That's something that happens every year. We've just gotten used to it. So that covers the legislative raises and increases, and then also in this particular case, our successful amendment for the $70,000 to increase a few staffer salaries and then cover benefits and et cetera. So you're kind of you're getting into it. You might already know, but we start off the year kind of in the red, and this moves us to the black. So just because the raises and everything take effect July 1st, and then the funding comes 6 to 10 months later. So we know what's happening. It's all good. And then jumping down, admissions seem great. We're 10% ahead of last year. That is, of course, tempered with the rising costs of everything else in the world. So definitely made the correct strategic move to increase admission prices for the museum. That seems to be working out well for us. Restricted gifts from the foundation, right on pace. We do expect that to go up as we get closer to the end of the year, and then more and more of these projects come on board. Souvenir and sales is kind of the fun part of my job anyway. We've seen a bit of a softening, and there's a ton of variables in the world, but a bit of softening in sales, and that might be potentially due to the increase in emissions, or it could be larger macroeconomic issues. So we're gonna keep an eye on that, see, where that takes us this fiscal year. The classes and classrooms and workshops and everything they seem up to, so that's great. We do have all of our education departments fully staffed now. We're rolling through that. People have gotten used to being able to I think for a while there, we were at capacity, so we were having to unfortunately say maybe try this next year. Now that we are at full capacity, people are just, calling in and getting on board with their classes. So I think that's been a positive. People have gotten back in the habit. Then jumping down to expenses, you see the contractual services seem up, but we have completed the detailed design for Waynesboro, which was a big chunk of that change. And then, of course, the pavilion and some other work we've been doing around the museum. So that all kind of happened in that first 2 quarters of the year, which accelerated that number. But that should level off. You should see a leveling off as the year progresses. Let's see. And then, of course, subscriptions. And that was that seems high, which is 249%. Seems like a lot, but it's roughly $1,000. That is from the previous fiscal year. The governor made the announcement that we weren't allowed to prepay anything. So typically, that last month of the year, we pay for the next full year of a subscription. We just rolled that into this fiscal year since we couldn't prepay for any subscriptions. Utilities, right in line with forecast, just a touch higher. And again, we're working with variables, the weather, aging infrastructure. The team's handling that expertly. And then agency surcharges, service charges that is well below where we expect it to be. But again, one of the service charges that falls into that category would be our debt service on the bond issuance for the ESCO project. So that's yearly. It's roughly $112,000 a year. So, which we just paid last week. So you'll see that number springboard up to the average pretty quickly after this. But I'm open to any questions on this quarter's budget. I know we got some more to cover since we're going to cover the budget for fiscal year 27 coming up. So
No, none from the TV, sir. I think you whatever. Yeah, tell me about 27.
all right, we can jump around here. 27. Yeah, so just Commonwealth budget, more have this in line with the greater board as a whole. The governor's budget was issued December 15th, 16th, and we received the $3.7 million in allocation, which is pretty much just level funding year to year. And then, of course, in his proposed budget, there's a 2% raise for staff and then a bonus, which all this has to make it through the legislature. So everything is liable to change. It could go up, it could go up, it could go away. Really until I tell everybody July 1st is when the real budget kicks in, is when we know at 100% certainty the full budget. But we're pretty certain going into that end of year, May, June. And of course, I'll let everybody know coming up if anything catastrophic or anything happens. But everything seems to be just right in line. Right in line. Emissions, also another exciting point, but again, tempered with the rising cost of doing business. We saw fit to add another 10% to that this year. This fiscal year being our first data point with the increased emission prices, the elasticity for demand seems to be pretty stable. We were worried that our area here in Martinsville, situated in its economics as it is, we might see a little bit more sensitivity on that demand, but it seems like it's been pretty strong. Marketing team, Zach and Ryan and Facebook crew, they're doing a great job of marketing our events and continuing to have people come out. So we were a little bit conservative in our estimates last year, but yeah, we seem to be heading 10% above what we expect. So it's good. And then restricted gifts from the foundation, you'll probably hear about it later. But the Young Explorer Center and some other projects will be coming online, so we expect to see continued transfers for those projects, things that we can purchase on the museum side. The foundation being a great partner there, we're working with them on that project. And then, of course, CHML has a team supported through grant funding, and that's through the partnership with the Smithsonian. And so there's 2 or 3 staffers, which we'll continue to see transfers for that over too. So roughly stable, but increasing just a touch for those new projects coming on board. And then souvenirs and sales. So that it just touches on that store, that softness we're seeing in store purchases. It's not diminishing, but it is kind of leveling out. We have been seeing similar growth to admission sales year over year, so we were kind of expecting that. But as the prices increase, maybe that's it. Maybe it's larger macroeconomic issues.
What's I mean, not to get too far. I mean, what's inventory with what does it correlate? Do we have a correlation there? Do we have enough things for sale? That's right.
Yeah, so the real for me, velocity of money, right? So we were seeing the inventory turn
Okay.
4.25 times a year. So now we're right at 3.9. We're
Okay.
roughly
It is directly to that. Just checking. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there's a bit of a turn in there. Yep. Then go to classes and workshops again. We're just seeing, an increased participation there for the same reasons I mentioned earlier. Fully staffed, people are back in the habit of just calling us up and us having an educator available.
Good.
That's good.
Are we booked, or what percentage are we running, occupied? Because now we have more salary.
Yeah, so currently I think we're 100% booked for the summer programs.
Cool.
These are the classroom. So if we like the distance learning. So say there's an educator in Charlottesville or there's an educator in Tidewater region. Those go out to the classrooms, and then as well as here, we have capacity to send staffers out to the Danville City Public Schools if they want to do it in classroom. So I'd say as far as we're probably about 50% of capacity on the leaving the museum and going out into the community. We're at 100% capacity on all the education programs here at the museum, if that makes sense.
Okay. Or will we have it mostly booked, in a few months, or?
Definitely. Well, as far as
I'm just saying we're fully staffed, and then we're not going out. So then we're gonna have yeah, right.
yeah, no, I think we will fill up as the spring comes in and people realize that we have availability. I think
Good.
that's really the
Okay.
big thing.
Just checking.
Oh yeah, no worries. And then touch on salaries, of course. We factored in the additional $70,000 ish for salaries and benefits for a couple of staff, and then of course the governor's what he's presented so far, and that goes back to we don't know how it's going to look after the budget, but I'll update it as we go once the legislature goes through and adds their amendments to it. So we always hope for more, but we're very happy with the level funding.
There you go.
Yep. And then go to contractual services. I think they're going to increase as we take on projects here at the museum. This is an interesting number for me as far as looking at just staff capacity. So I don't necessarily know that it's a dollar figure amount that's going to cap this, our ability to do our contractual services. But I think it is a staff availability to take on the projects. So it's kind of neat for me to see that, it may not be a money issue, but it's a staff time issue. And then we're looking at, requesting more funds from the legislature. And anyway, so it's kind of a neat, how that all plays out together, at least for me. Anyway. There. And then staff training, of course, just like to highlight again, how well the foundation works with the museum. There's data funds available for staff to do training, travel to conferences and do things they otherwise wouldn't be able to do with with the O1 general fund money from the state, and two, just with additional funds, they leverage what they already have through grants on the foundation side to make it bigger and better than it could have been. So I think that's really, really well worked out. And then utilities, again, just looking at those, seems like the guys, the variables are the variables, but we seem to the curve has flattened as far as the continued increase. So I think we're going to be looking at kind of a on average marginal increase based for the dollar figure based on utility rates in the city, and then of course just the consumption rate. I think we're working on and have gotten a handle on most of the variables there. So should be a leveling out of that number.
March through June is also the time period of least use of heating and cooling.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Great question so far. Is there anything else we can enlighten, or, all right.
Not on my part.
Hey, keep in mind, that for the longest time, well, as long as I've been here, we have asked for city and county support at level numbers. So for 15 years straight, so, what's the number we asked for from the county?
28,000.
20,000.
Number.
We're asking for 35 this year. It'd be the
Alright.
first time we've ever done an increase. I don't think we did an increase for the city. The city's a mess, you know,
Yep, I can see that. I agree
Yeah.
there.
so we're just not playing with that right now, but the county's still the county, it's doing well. We've never asked for an increase in 15 years, so we're asking for a percentage increase this year. So we'll see how they respond.
I would think the taxing authority could take care of that. I think the taxing
I would hope so.
that sounds like so.
All right, Ryan, do you want to give an update on the endowment and its management and so forth, sure?
So, yeah, well, so overall advancement, you've got the report, of course, just overall, some of the high points, so overall museum revenue, like Jonathan touched on, just combined, it's up 12.5% over last year. That's, of course, a combination of store sales, admissions, various revenue sources. Visitation is up slightly over last year, so up 8% over through the second quarter. So looking at the graph, we're seeing a continued trend, steady growth, no spikes, no huge drops, which is great. So, we want to continue that trend. So every quarter we're seeing pretty consistent growth. So that's great news. Zip code distribution is trending pretty much historically like it has, but at a very positive rate of 70% of our visitors coming from outside Martinsville, Henry County. So that's, of course, throughout Virginia, North Carolina, but especially with festivals, we see far flung zip codes. Some folks are coming specifically for the event, some are passing through, some are visiting family, whatever. But I think more and more we see people, and when we talk to people, we see an unusual zip code and we ask them, like, what brought you here? More and more because of the festival. So I think that's
Wonderful.
great news. So good trends there. As far as grants and partnerships, we have a lot in process. So working with education, working with curators, but also working on things like funding for festivals and exhibits. We have a lot in the pipeline. So just successfully completed the work as part of the VA 250 tourism grant. So it was a $10,000 grant for the exhibit, for the publication, for the upcoming activities. And so we've submitted the reimbursement for that. So that 10,000 should show up in the next quarter as part of revenue. So great news there. And we've got several grants in the pipeline. So we've got a request through the Community Foundation for upcoming festivals. And then we're in the pipeline to request capital support for the Young Explorer Center in the summer. So they've got a special fund opening in July. We're going to look at a larger ask to help supplement the capital funds for the Young Explorer Center. And then just continued corporate outreach. So we're working with companies for things like festivals and exhibits, and tailoring the packages to what they see as benefits. Sometimes that's volunteerism at festivals. Sometimes it's tickets for employees. But we just try to tailor it to what they're interested in. So good news there, and we're working already into 2027 as far as partnerships. So we, obviously there's still work to be done in 2026, but a lot of the partnerships that we're developing are carrying over into mid 2027. So
Yeah, great.
the more the better. The more we can do that, the better. Yeah, as far as endowment, so like Joe mentioned, we had a meeting Wednesday for the finance executive committee meeting at the foundation. So just, obviously there's a lot of work, but part of that's the endowment. And so finalizing policies. So we're looking at a 5% annual allocation of interest revenue as a policy. And then going forward, that'll be on a 3-year average to help give us, predictability and cushion and sort of help us with the markets. But we won't start that rolling 3-year average until at least 3 years down the road. Because obviously the 3-year average now would be lower. So. But the focus now through early to mid 2027 is the Young Explorer Center and all the work that goes with that. So it's going to be kind of a special allocation where we're going to target pretty much, maximum interest revenue allocation for everything that goes with the Young Explorer Center. So the work has started. It's well underway. A lot of stuff coming up. When you see the shelving in the library, it's gone now, which is great. That was a huge amount of work, outsourced, but we partnered with the company that installed it to get it out, and it's at Douglas, so it'll be future shelving for there as well. So all the work that goes with that, we've met with carpet folks, flooring, we're looking at, track lighting, we've got a meeting coming up with an electrical firm, so all the things that sort of the unsung steps that have to be done.
I see, gotta get the infrastructure in, that's right.
Yeah, as far as upcoming events, we got a lot. So February 7th is our special Bug Day, which is a kind of a science Saturday versus like a full festival. So that's going to be Saturday, February 7th. That'll be great. The folks will be out on the floor with some specimens and just interacting with visitors. That's always a popular element. February 19th, we have our Clash of the Giants event. So that's one of the primary events as part of the VA 250 celebration. So that's going to be an invite event for members and donors. So it'll be an evening event, a nice chance to engage with donors and highlight the exhibit and everything that goes with that. Lots of special experiences with that.
How are we doing on sign up?
I haven't gotten the latest on RSVPs, but the invite went out, I guess late last week. And
Yep.
Right.
We're already
I
getting,
got it. Yeah. Okay.
we're already getting it. So
Good.
it's
Okay.
hard to predict. We traditionally get anywhere from 50 to over 100 attendees at those. So
Yeah.
it's great. It's great to offer as much as we can do for members and donors. Obviously the better.
Yeah.
And then March 21st is a ticketed event. So that's the Bridgerton themed event, which we're calling Starlington. So it's, like I said, March 21st. Tickets are online now for purchase. So it's going to be a very creative, really cool event. We've got it well in hand. Staff are really getting creative with it. And then, of course, festivals coming up in April and July. We have Reptile Festival and Dinah Festival, and we're already, well into the weeds on those, booking, getting the tents reserved, getting the wristbands, again, all the sort of unsung things that go with that. And the marketing's, always going on. There's never any break. So those are the really, really big picture highlights. I'm happy to dig into anything or answer any questions. Like I said, good trends across the board. That being said, we want to keep our foot on the pedal. So with the foundation board, the message for them and the sort of the marching orders is, we want to keep opening doors. We want to, if there's contacts they have, we're happy to follow up. Keep it going.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. Thank you for the updates. It's no need to get dark when there's nothing dark to talk about. So that's good.
Exactly.
All good.
Wonderful. Well, that's good there. Let's see here. I don't what else? That sounds positive on my side. I've got like I talked about, have somebody new joining apparently later this year. So won't be just a solo broadcast, but that's all right. I don't mind talking to you guys. If there's any I guess questions, comments, or from anybody else that's necessary.
So the budget typically, Nathan not being here, typically we'd vote that up to be voted on by the.
Oh, excuse me. I didn't see action noted. Sorry. So usually I have, but no. That's not usually. I like my cue cards tell me to do what you
Yeah,
do.
no, but there's no quorum, so we just asked that you bring it up for approval to move forward as the draft budget prior to legislative. Sorry.
We're putting together the agenda with Melanie at 3 o'clock this afternoon, so
Right.
it will definitely be on there. Your
Okay, got it. So on the 6th, that will be I will be signposted. That sounds wonderful.
Good to be prepared.
Good plan. Well, we don't want to miss anything procedurally because that gets people upset. All right. Anything to bring to executive next week?
No, just the we'll do the quick review of the budget, more brief than we did here.
Right.
But no, I think and obviously an update on what's going on with the foundation board. So
Okay, that's good.
General. So otherwise, no, I think there are no surprises at this point to bring up.
Right. When I'm in executive, is there any specific points anybody'd like? I mean, usually I've crafted them from scratch out of my cabinet. But is anything you guys would like me to go on next week?
Just bring up that Tim King and his buildings and grounds crew. you know, they have been very active, working to further improve our HVAC system. You know, we don't have a dedicated HVAC technician,
Right.
right? You know, necessarily somebody who's like highly experienced or whatever. So they've been putting in a lot of effort with it. So just give them a shout out. It's always very nice.
Yeah, I can do that. Anybody who takes a project under their belt is definitely needs one.
Yeah, yeah. No, and you know, that of course pertains to facilities, but of course it leads downhill to finances. So very important.
It always touches finances. So, let's understand there.
Okay, fellas, you have anything else?
I think I'm good.
Wonderful. All right. Well, that's everything on my agenda, and I thank everyone for the good report and the solid work that put it together. So I appreciate it.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good to see you, Will.
Hey, good to see you guys. Good luck this weekend.
All right,
All
thank
right,
you.
yeah, you too. Stay